Welcome to the Dose of Good podcast, where we celebrate good people and organizations working to make the world a better place. It can be easy to get caught up in the bad things going on in the world and forget about the good happening all around us each and every day. I'm your host, Erin, and I want to share these stories with you and give them the attention they deserve. I hope this podcast educates and inspires you and maybe even motivates you to share a dose of good in your community. Now let's get into today's episode. Welcome. For today's episode, I am going to be featuring the Lions Club. The Lions Club is international, so you likely have a Lions Club near you that you would be able to join. But today I'm featuring members of the Hampstead Lions Club and the Nashua Lions Club. And we will also get into being involved district-wide because the state is broken up into different districts. I myself am a Lions Club member in the Hampstead Lions Club, and it's been a great organization for me to belong to, and that's why I wanted to feature them on the podcast, because I know when I joined, I didn't really know what the Lions Club did. I had heard of them, and I saw their signs, when you enter towns, saying that they have a Lions Club, but I really had no idea what they were all about or what they did. So I thought that might be the case for other people as well, and I thought it would be great to have them on and let you know more about who they are and what they do. Today I have with me Peter LaPointe, first Vice District Governor of District 44H, which represents southeastern New Hampshire, as well as Erin Hendrickson, President of the Nashua Lions Club. Thank you both for being here with me today.
Thanks for asking.
Thank you.
What is the mission of the Lions Club? And I'll let either of you answer, whoever wants to.
I think the primary mission of Lions, not only in New Hampshire but globally, is to provide service to the communities that we live in or the surrounding communities around us. So we identify needs and we take our resources, sometimes limited or not, but we try to service those needs as best we can.
I think the Lions Club also is a mission-driven organization in which we come together as a community to serve the community. And so it's both beneficial for those who are members as well as those that we are serving in the community.
Okay. And how can someone find out about their local Lions Club, or how would they join if they're looking to join a Lions Club?
I think the easiest way, if you don't know one exists, is you go on to Lions Clubs International. You can Google it, get into their website, and it will allow you to search your community, the town you live in, and it will identify the closest town where a Lions Club currently exists, with all their contact information.
Okay, great. That's easy enough.
It is quite easy.
And what made you each want to join the Lions Club?
I'll go first for that. I think for me, what really jolted my interest was just that I wanted to get involved in my local community again, having moved away from Nashua and then moving back. I grew up in Nashua, and so when one of my best friend's fathers asked me if I wanted to join, I said, I think so. And so I went to a meeting, and that was all I needed to do, was to go to a meeting to see what was going on. And ever since then, 10 plus years now, I've just been happy to be in an organization that gives so much to so many people.
And I kind of agree. I mean, I've been a member 26 years. And it was I have a personal need or desire to always serve my local community that I live in. And I found many ways in Lions that allows me to do that. They're almost limited to unlimited, no restrictions. If you have an idea to provide service, usually your club will rally around whatever cause you have, and we'll attack it collectively with our volunteers. And I think that's a real plus of what we do. No one's one person trying to solve it. It's a group of folks that will always come together to solve that need.
That's great. And Peter, could you tell us a little bit about the global causes that the Lions participate in?
So Lions worldwide currently have 8 different causes. They range from childhood cancer, diabetes awareness, disaster relief, environment, humanitarian, hunger, vision, and youth.
Okay. And those seem pretty self-explanatory, but are there any that you want to go more in depth on, or?
I think that we could do some in depth. Childhood cancer, which is close to me from my family history, but it's also, I think, very meaningful to almost anyone in any community. Because I don't think there's a community, not only in New Hampshire but worldwide, that does at some point of its tenure get affected by some family who has someone that's been affected by childhood cancer. And we rally around that in many, many different ways, from volunteering to help a family go through that process by supporting them with fundraisers, because not everything is covered by insurances. And a lot of times what happens with a family that's affected by it, they may be remote from the locations they need to have the service provided by. And we can help with that by doing some support by giving them gas cards, providing them a little funds that when they're commuting and they have an overnight stay to get those treatments, we can help with all of that.
And is there any of those you wanted to go into?
I think the one for me that we have focused on a lot this year in the Nashua Club particularly is diabetes. So we organized our first run walk for making strides against diabetes, and we raised over $4,000 for the American Diabetes Association. And so to Peter's point, it's another cause that really does affect someone or someone you know. And so I think that it's important to show the community that we see them and we see the issues that they're having, and through various fundraising efforts and service projects, giving back in such a way.
Definitely. And what is your favorite thing about being a lion?
There's just too many.
You can just name a few of them if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I think our ability to do free vision screening for anyone that's 6 months old or older and provide them a comprehensive, quick test, 30 seconds or less, that allows them to understand if they have any potential vision issues is a huge benefit to our communities. It's also one of our more difficult things because there are a lot of our communities don't allow us to go do vision screening in our schools for a variety of reasons. And it's unfortunate because along with the vision screening, we don't know who the client is or the person is. We provide that only through the school nurses. So we don't get involved in the names of the individuals or the families. But the results, if they are provided that they recommend additional follow-up with an optometrist, and they cannot afford any of that, the testing or the eyeglasses eventually, or eye care, we as a group will provide that financial assistance to those that need it. We have a organization in the combined districts of our state called the Lion Sight and Hearing Foundation, and we provide support, whether it be an operation, eye care, eye exam, eye care, cataract surgery for the older folks. And I say that kind of jokingly because one of my twin grandsons, when he was born, had cataracts at birth. Wow. Very rare, but it does happen. And he required several surgeries in his younger years, and then corrective eyeglasses through that process. Mm-hmm. It kind of touches your heart when you go and you see that a child sits in a classroom and they really can't make out the chalkboard or the board on the front of the room. And our ability to help with that at no cost to the family is just, to me, overwhelming. And it makes you feel good when that happens, when you can provide that.
Yeah, that's a wonderful service that you're able to offer to people. And forgive me, I don't know the name of the device, but you did bring with you today what you used to do the screening. So we'll put a clip of that so people can kind of see what that looks like.
Right.
So, okay. And on a local level, or I'm sorry, you say what your favorite thing is.
I mean, to Peter's point, there are so many favorite things, but I think for me, something that I have cherished this whole time is the community that both we build and we assist. And so an opportunity exactly like this one where I'm hanging out with Peter. I might not have met Peter otherwise, but now we have a connection and we are together serving our community. And so it's a really beautiful thing to see all the people come together, young and old, to really get to know the needs of their local community.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And on a local, you've already touched on some of the amazing things that your clubs do, but on a more local level, can you tell us about some of the service projects that you do?
Well, one of the things we do as a district, we have a local summer camp that we provide services to individuals with special needs. It's a solely owned summer camp by our district and all of our club members. It's located in New Durham, New Hampshire. Sits on a little over 370 acres of land, and we can service anywhere in a summer period for about 7 weeks, anywhere from 600 to 1,000 folks with individual special needs in a given summer. And that's very special. Not too many organizations in the country can say that they can do that kind of service and service that many needs. It's pretty special.
Yeah.
And I think from the Nashua Lions Club perspective, one of our main goals is to hit upon all of the major areas that the Lions Club focuses on. And so we will do, Mine Falls Park cleanup as part of environment, and we will organize with help an outside organization do a food drive or things like that. And so it's really just identifying what within the specific community is the need and figuring out how you can service that need.
And are there any current challenges that your clubs are facing?
I think the one thing that we all as Lions would say is membership. It's just we need to get the word out there about what we do, and we need people to understand what we're all about. I think that as someone who's on the younger side, without knowing, you would think that it's an adult, like a older fraternal organization. And so, but now that I'm a member, I see all the things that the younger Lions can do, and I see the benefit that it's coming to me, that I'm getting to meet all these other people as well. And so I think membership is a very important piece of something that I want to drive home. And I always say, we always say as Lions to ask one, and I always want to show one. So have someone come to a service project that you're doing, have them participate in the fundraiser, have them come to your meeting and just see what it's all about, because once you're in, you're in.
Yeah, that's great. One thing I wanted to add that I find nice about the Lions Club is you can be as involved as you want to be, but it's not like a strong time commitment unless you want it to be. So you can sign up for the things that you're interested in. Maybe it's one event a year, maybe you sign up for every event, so it's all how much time you want to put into it, which is nice. So
And I think it'd be amiss if I didn't talk about, in my district leadership role, what the district does in behalf of all 38 clubs. This past year, we have donated over $500,000 back into our local communities. That's servicing those 38 communities. We've run 1,830 projects, events in the service area. We involved 38,000 hours of volunteerism in our communities. We've impacted 215,000 people with the projects that we run. And that was all done by the 38 clubs and the 1,240 members that we have currently in our organization. A wish of all of us in a service organization is more members. But more members kind of results as more service you do. So the more service we can do, the more members we attract. But the nice thing about Lions, if a new member comes in and they say, I've got this idea of a project, and I don't see that you've ever done this type of project, we all at a local level entertain that and try to rally around getting that project so that we can service even more people. And we encourage new people, potential people, to not even join our organization necessarily, but to come to our organization and give us ideas, get involved in the projects we do, and typically they will begin to appreciate and want to be part of that, of what we do. They just find it's a rewarding experience. And you touched on it very well. Members don't have to go and say, I got to put in 35 hours a month. If they only have 1 to 2 hours a month to don't volunteer, that's perfect. Do your part the way you can do it, and everyone will get along with that well.
Yeah.
We're not like some organizations that really want you there, at every meeting, at every event, et cetera, et cetera. We're kind of more liberal than that. It's do what you can, because every little bit helps.
Definitely. And thank you for sharing those numbers with us. It shows what an impact you're having in your local communities. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. I think people know the Lions name, but they don't necessarily know all the things that you do to impact the communities.
That's so true. And it's amazing because on a global basis, we're about 1.4 million people in our organization.
Yeah.
And that's a large organization, one of the largest in the world for a volunteer service organization.
Wow. That's awesome. And what would you tell someone who's thinking about joining but maybe might still be a little unsure if they want to?
I think I would drive home your point that it's the time that you can give and to the things that you want to give to. As someone who came in, I really wanted to get involved right away, but I took it slow because I wanted to see where I could have the most impact. I wanted to get to know about the organization, and so now, being 10 years in, I do a lot more than I did, say, my first year, but that's not a requirement. If I could just volunteer at our Making Strides Against Diabetes run walk every year, that's something, and that's an important piece of Lionism that I hope people really understand is you give what you can give, and us as a Lions community cherish that.
Mm-hmm. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think, and in your career or journey as a Lion, I found that early on when I first joined, I was very, very active. And then things changed in my life. I didn't drop my membership, but I did a lot less. And then later in time, I got re-involved. And again, you do what you can through that process, and you give what you can for hours, and it does whatever you put in. Quite honestly, pays you back tenfold. And if it doesn't, there's something wrong with it. But it really does. I mean, you're going to touch lives in a way that make you, it touches you. You feel so good about what you can do. I wish more people would enjoy that experience.
Yes, I think that's another aspect people don't realize is you get as much out of it as you're putting into it, and maybe even more so as far as the feeling it can give you and everything. So, and a couple other things just to touch on. You wanted to talk about the Bears project.
Yeah, this past year, we one of our district-wide service project was called Hugs and Cuddles. It is basically a Build-A-Bear, a little condo house that comes with a cardboard box, and a set of crayons. And we asked our community members to sponsor a bear. And from that sponsorship, a bear gets purchased with a condo, and we donate it to a variety of causes, from the Chad folks up in Lebanon at the hospital for children, to memory wards, to fire departments, to police departments, to an area of need. And it's amazing the reward out of that. We kicked it off and we said, for the year, we've never done it before, but so maybe we'll get a couple hundred bears. I think we're a little over 960 bears right now. Year ends in 4 weeks, so maybe we'll get to that 1,000 mark, which would be incredible. And we're going to carry it on again next year for the clubs that want to do it, because we think it's so worthwhile. It's not very expensive for someone to sponsor a bear, yet the reward is far outweighs it.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And that's a perfect example of a project that was the brainchild of Peter, and he brought it to the district, and everybody has embraced it, and utilize that opportunity to service their community in the way that they need to. And so, as Peter says, some go to hospitals, some to memory care, and so it runs the gamut, and it's a really great opportunity just to showcase like the ability for our organization to provide comfort to those in need.
That's great. And then I was told before we started recording that your club in Nashua is not only the largest, but you just had your 100th anniversary.
We did, yes.
Did you want to say a little more about that?
Yeah, so we are really lucky that we have been in service to Nashua since 1923, and we are the second oldest club in New Hampshire, and we were able to celebrate with a big bang in this past September, and had the former Lions Club International president come and speak. And so it's just been really fun as the president to see all the history that we're bringing forth and showcasing to our community, and what things we're now deciding, like, oh, we should bring that back, or, oh, like, we should ask that person's grandchild to join, and those kinds of things. And so it's just really special to be part of an organization that's been around for so long and servicing the community for so many years.
That is great. I don't know that much about other service organizations, but I can't think of many that have been around that long, so that's quite an accomplishment. And before my final two questions, is there anything else that you wanted to share that we maybe haven't covered? And if not, or if it comes to you in a few minutes, that's fine too. All right, so we'll move on then, and if you think of anything, let me know. What nonprofit do you think we should feature next?
I think that whether it's Chamber of Commerce, Rotarians, any one of them, because often most of our clubs like to partner with them in a lot of service projects, especially in our communities where maybe our club size is only 20. Not 100 plus, and yet they have an ambitious service project to do. The best way we can do that is by partnering with our local service organizations, those that I mentioned, and going after a particular cause or a need in our community. And I think that any one of those would be great to have on as one of your guests.
That's great, because we haven't had any of those yet, so those are good ones to look into. Did you have any others?
Same thing kind of with Nashua is we partner a lot with our local nonprofit organizations, and so a few that come to mind are the Front Door Agency and Marguerite's Place. Those are two that we have provided both service and financial donations to over this past year, and they're organizations within Nashua that benefit the community in ways that we as Lions feel are important.
Okay, I'm not familiar with those, so can you just give a little overview of what they do?
Sure. So the Front Door Agency is a housing organization for women and children. And so we, as Nashua Lions, sponsor a suite of apartments in the city. And Marguerite's Place is also for women and children. And what we what we organize with them is we do a Thanksgiving dinner for them, and we do once a month Thursdays dinners that we provide to them. And so it's just the group of women and their children that come together and to get services.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, those sound like two really worthy organizations, so I'll look into those and hopefully be able to have them on as guests. And then the last question is, what is the kindest thing you've ever witnessed or been a part of? Which I know is hard because there's lots of things, which is a good thing. But
Let me think about it.
Okay.
But I would like to mention
Sure.
some of the things that I didn't go over earlier.
Okay.
Along with our childhood cancer projects, et cetera, My Home Club does an incredible project, and it supports Make-A-Wish.
Okay.
And over the last 5 years, we've raised in excess of $100,000 for that organization, which has given multiple gifts to multiple families that really need a little bit of kindness during a tough period of their life. We also support the Veterans and Liberty House, and I think it's another organization you may want to talk to. They do a lot of good for folks that gave a lot to this country and often forgotten. So I think it's important that we don't do that we support them as best we can. We do a lot of work also with food insecurities. I think almost every club does something with a food pantry of some sort. I know on occasion our district gets together and we package 10,000 meals on a Saturday afternoon, and then we provide that back into the local pantries to support a number of families. Those are all great projects that I think make an impact positively in our communities, and we need to do more of it. And that's why we always look for more volunteers, more people to join our organization, because even with as much as I talked about our impact in the district, can't imagine what that would be, even if we only increased our membership size by a couple hundred over the 1,400 we have. Mm-hmm. How many more things we could take care of. That's what we strive for.
That's great.
For me, I don't know if this is necessarily the kindest thing I've ever witnessed, but it's the day I realized that I was a lion, is during the height of COVID, I had the opportunity to volunteer at a mobile food pantry. And so everybody in their masks, it was cold, it was rainy, it was gross, and everybody really came together, and these families were so grateful. And I just felt like this is a little something that I can give, and all these other people are here giving as well, and of their time, of their skills, of everything that they can to provide these families with food in a time that is a very stressful time for all of us.
Yeah, that's great.
And I think for probably one of my single most important moments, I've been involved with Lions Camp Pride for 14 years. And I had the opportunity to serve as their president for 5 years. And there was one summer I was at summer camp while one of our groups was on site. It was from the ADA Association, so Juvenile Diabetes. And it was opening day for them. So the cars are streaming in the parking lot. Kids were getting out of their cars, unpacking all their stuff for the week that they were there. And there was a little boy named Johnny that was running across the parking lot looking everywhere for someone. And I said, "Could I help you?" And he says, "I'm looking for Susie." I said, "Susie?" I said, "Okay, is she a counselor? Is she someone from the camp staff?" She said, "No. I met her last year when I was at ADA, and we had a friendship." He said, "And I want to find out if she's here again." And the story goes on that says some 7 years later, because they were teenagers, Susie and Johnny got married at Camp Pride.
Oh, I love that.
And that's a touching moment.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for sharing that. That's a great story. And the only thing I think I would add is an aspect that doesn't always get talked about, because as it should be, the focus is on the service aspect and helping out in your communities, but you also have a lot of fun too, and there's a lot of fun events and activities that go on, at least in the Hampstead Club. I know they have an Easter pancake breakfast. They help out organizing the Christmas parade, usually have a year-end and a holiday party where everybody just gets to come together and have a good time. So it's a lot of fun, and you get to meet a lot of wonderful people and make some great friendships as well. So,
absolutely. And I think from a district perspective, we have several cabinet meetings throughout the year where clubs have an opportunity to come together in one day for half a day and share ideas what other clubs are doing. We have a spring convention, which is a 2-day long weekend, and we do a lot of celebrating and recognition of all the great things that have gone on. Every August, we have a visit to the ballpark up in Manchester, and we have a day where groups come together, and it's really about bringing your family and in my case, my grandkids with me, and we get together and have just a blast. And you're right, we often don't talk about all the fun we have, but almost every service event, quite honestly, I have fun at.
yeah.
Even though this work is also about having some fun and developing friendships with folks within your club and across the district.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that's great about the Lions Club is even though it is work, it doesn't feel like it because it is fun.
Yes.
So, Well, I thank you both so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad we're able to get the word out about the Lions Club and hopefully get more people to join.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for it.
All right, and have a good day. Thank you so much for listening and learning more about the Lions Club. It's been a great organization for me to belong to, not only because of its flexibility, but also for meeting other people in my community. I encourage you to look into your local Lions Club, especially if you've been thinking about volunteering, but maybe didn't know where to start. I think it's a great organization to start out with because of the fact that you can put as much time as you want to into it. And as we said, it's a lot of fun. I'll include all the important information in the description box so that you can look into joining yourself. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, Dose of Good Podcast, for all the latest information on the podcast and new episodes. It would also really help me out if you would leave a rating or review on Apple Podcasts, because it gets the podcast out there more, lets people know that it is available, and I would also just love to hear your thoughts and feedback. Thanks again for listening. I'll be back with another episode soon, and have a great day.